welcome you to today's edition of the program Good Morning Abuja, and it is coming to you from the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5. My name is Deborah Abba Usman, and on today's edition of the program, we're going to inform you, educate you, and of course, entertain you on our show this morning. I tell you, it promises to be very, very interesting, and you know how we do it every morning. Let's start with our motivational talk to put us in the right frame of mind.
Rich people don't waste time. They realize it's their most important commodity. They don't watch a lot of TV. They don't do a lot of entertainment. If they're not working, they're studying their craft and getting better at their craft. I would love to tell you that on the road to success, everything is going to work out. It's not. It's going to be a dog fight. You want what it looks like, but you don't want what it feels like. It's hard. It's tough. The investment is worth it. I'm telling you, set a standard. I went and got my GED, then I got my 4-year degree, then I got my master's degree, then I got my PhD. And I ain't smart, but I set a standard so when my kids came in this world, their mama got a master's, their daddy got a PhD, they at least got to finish high school. I set a standard. Multi-millionaire as a speaker from the bottom up. I set a standard. Right? And so what I had to learn how to do was I had to say, yo, when the lights go off, who is Eric? What am I working on? What's my North Star? What's important to me? What makes me happy? And when you find out what your why is, and your why gotta be deeper than you, when you find your why, you don't hit snooze no more. When you find your why, you find a way to make it happen.
Our motivational talk there, and we know we have been well motivated enough to start our day's activities, and next is our Keep Fit segment. Let's go do some exercises this morning. Welcome back, and that was our Keep Fit segment, and we know you had joined in to do some exercises like we always preach here every morning. Make exercise your priority because it keeps you fit and takes you away from the hospital. And next on our lineup is our health tips. Let's bring you this report on cancer.
Cancer, according to medical experts, is a complex group of diseases characterized by the uncontrolled growth and spread of abnormal cells, which leads to the second cause of death globally. In the past, cancer carried a stigma due to its association with death, and this manifested in ways that decreased people's willingness to discuss cancer, even to the extent that patients diagnosed were not shared with them.
So living cells that are doing their thing in the body, when they become cancerous, they start to misbehave. They don't recognize boundaries anymore. They just grow and destroy their neighboring cells. They can spread, what we call metastasize, from one place and go somewhere else and go and sit there and start growing there and distorting things.
Today, cancer is less stigmatized and more openly discussed without affecting the well-being of patients. Here in the chemotherapy ward and radiotherapy center in one of the hospitals visited in the FCT, where patients diagnosed with cancer are being receiving treatment. It is as a result of these numerous cases of cancer that the World Health Organization set aside every year in February to mark World Cancer Day to raise awareness and encouragement aimed at reducing the global impact of cancer by promoting healthy lifestyles. Meanwhile, medical experts identify common risk factors for cancer to include tobacco use, unhealthy diets, physical inactivity, and exposure to the environmental health hazards.
There are so many ways of treating them. Surgery, surgical treatment, radiotherapy treatment. Surgical treatment is cutting it out. Radiation, that's radiotherapy to address it. Chemotherapy to give. There's also what we call hormone therapy, targeted therapies. There are many more therapies depending on what the disease. Preventing cancer from developing is the key. All right, but if you cannot prevent it, the next thing is early detection. Discover it when the cancer is still very young. If you discover it when the cancer is still very young, there is great chance of cure.
With the cases witnessed at the hospital, it is hopeful that the government and well-meaning Nigerians will look round the clock to bring succor to patients going through this disease.
Yes, that was a report on Cancer Day. Cancer is a very deadly disease. Please ensure you take care of your health every day. Now we're going to go on our very first break on the show. When we come back, we'll have a lot for you. Stay with us, please.
I welcome you on today's ride on the show Good Morning Abuja.
This is Window on Abuja.
We have everything it takes to compete with any nation all across the world.
How do we make it? We are not ready to produce. We've been contributing to the development of your kingdom.
Hello and welcome to Young Hearts.
Our focus today will be on hepatitis B.
Ladylike!
This is Entertainment Gist.
In the 14th century, 15th, 16th century, and even 17th.
That is for zakah to cure our greed.
The purpose why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to create humanity.
The Bible talks about a man called Apollos.
Somebody give a price!
This is NTA Abuja Channel 5.
See you same time.
And have a great and blessed week ahead.
Good to know you have rejoined us again on the program Good Morning Abuja, and it is showing only on the Unity Station NTA Channel 5. Now we have a guest in the studio and want to talk about our environment. Our environment is the only wonderful gift given to us by our Creator. Hence, the need to manage our environment very well. This morning, we'll be looking at environmental management in project planning and implementation. And I've been joined with an environmentalist to do justice to our topic before us this morning. Help us welcome Dr. Damilola Additional to the program. Doctor, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Good morning.
It's good to see you on our show this morning.
Thank you.
Okay. Like I said, our environment is the only gift, wonderful gift given to us by our Creator. So we need to make a conscious effort to take care of our environment. As we look at environmental management in project planning and implementation this morning, I want us to start. What is environmental management for a layman to really understand what we are talking about?
Okay, thank you very much. I like the fact that you started with the fact that environment is that which is given to us by Creator.
Yes.
And the need to manage it. When you have something and you manage it well, it means you are going to be able to enjoy it. So
yes.
Basically, environmental management is that process through which we try to minimize the negative impact, basically, of human environment relationships to ensure that we can enjoy the environment that our Creator has given to us effectively and then achieve what we call sustainability.
Okay, it's a very good and simple definition. So when you say I want you to pick out the negative impact so that we understand it more.
Okay, so let's look at the balance in the environment.
Okay.
God has given us free air to breathe, oxygen. And when you look at the structure of the environment, the atmospheric structure of the environment, you have oxygen, which is supposed to be like 21%. You have nitrogen, which is supposed to be 78%. You have other gases, So any activity of man that alters this balance, I'm just talking about air alone. Altering that balance alone is shifting from what nature has given to us, and then it becomes something difficult. When you look at other aspects of the environment, other media like the soil upon which we grow plants that we consume, when you look at water that we depend upon to drink, to feed our animals and do other things, when this water becomes polluted, we're not going to be able to reach the full potential that we're supposed to get from it. The ecosystem services is distorted. So basically, taking care of our environment, managing it properly, when we are implementing projects is very, very important to enable us continue to enjoy the environment as much as our Creator has intended for us.
Okay, when you were talking about altering, because you use the air as an example,
yes,
altering the
balance,
the air. I want you to, before we come down to project planning and implementation, I want you to really tell us the form to which we can alter the air.
Okay, so basically, introducing substances that carries pollutants.
All right.
For instance, as activities that you and I or every one of us probably contribute to, includes probably driving our cars. We have exhaust fumes that carries certain noxious gases that can alter the natural balance in the environment. We also have other activities such as power generation. We have activities, even as I was coming into this studio this morning, I got to a particular point and I started perceiving certain, which means activities that so every activity of man in relation to the environment produces energy. And this energy, in most cases, introduce alterations into the atmosphere that can alter the balance, I said earlier. And then some of the activities that we also, as human beings, some of the activities that we carry out also pollute our water system, pollute our soil, and all of that. So all this creates a lot of alterations in the natural ecosystem.
Okay. That's a very good one. We decide to establish all of this so that we drive to where we are going and make our explanation very, very simple. Now, bringing it down to project planning and implementation. Why do we need environmental management plan on projects?
Okay, so let me start with environmental management plan.
Okay.
And say it's a kind of a safeguard tools.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the word safeguard, that is safeguarding. So, an environmental and social management plan, as the case may be, is a safeguard tool that helps us to minimize the impact of projects on the environment. Don't forget that we have projects, we embark on projects for the people, basically. We have buildings, we have roads, we have power generation, transmission, distribution, name them. They are all to the benefit of human beings. However, as we are planning and implementing this project, there are impacts on the environment
Sure.
that will not allow the same human being for which we want to get this project in place to enjoy it effectively. So that means we must create a balance. And one of the safeguards tools that can help us to minimize or avoid or minimize the impact so that the project that we are implementing can be enjoyable to us, safeguarding human being as safeguarding the environment that the human being depends upon is an environmental management plan.
Okay, that is a very good one. You always talk about creating balance and creating balance. Now, in creating balance, what are the steps in conducting environmental management plan? We want you to bring them out for us to be able to understand them step by step.
Okay, so basically, preparing an environmental and social management plan may not be something that the whole world will understand, except probably those who are involved in project management or safeguard specialists or excuse me, but I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. So basically, it is more like, first of all, we need to understand the project that we're planning or we're planning to implement.
Okay.
So, for instance, you cannot plan for something you don't know.
You don't know, yes.
What kind of project are we talking about? You must understand it first. That's the first step. Secondly, you must understand the legal and regulatory framework, because every activity, everywhere we have laws and regulations that guides what we do. So understanding and identifying and understanding the legal and regulatory frameworks guiding such an activity. For instance, in Nigeria and in some other places in the world, but I will give an example of Nigeria.
Okay.
We have the Environmental Impact Assessment CAP E12 LFN 2004 that requires that every major development must undergo the process of an environmental and impact assessment.
Sure.
So such is an act that when developing a project, we must think of how the project will comply with such an act. Globally as well, there are several other, each country have theirs, but also there are international standards that requires that projects must be subjected to the process of environmental and social impact assessment. And as part of this process is developing an environmental and social management plan. So step 2 is more like looking at the legal and regulatory framework. So after that, then is the fact that we need to be able to identify the stakeholders.
Okay.
Because I want to implement a project and I'm at the planning stage, that doesn't mean that I can do it alone. There are stakeholders. Okay, who are the people around the area where this project is to be implemented? Who are the regulatory authorities? They are also stakeholders. Who are the people that will be impacted directly or indirectly by this project? So they are
you always talk about creating balance and creating balance. Now, in creating balance, what are the steps in conducting environmental management plan? We want you to bring them out for us to be able to understand them step by step.
Okay, so basically, preparing an environmental and social management plan may not be something that the whole world will understand, except probably those who are involved in project management or safeguard specialists or excuse me, but I'll try to simplify it as much as possible. So basically, it is more like, first of all, we need to understand the project that we're planning or we're planning to implement.
Okay.
So, for instance, you cannot plan for something you don't know.
You don't know, yes.
What kind of project are we talking about? You must understand it first. That's the first step. Secondly, you must understand the legal and regulatory framework, because every activity, everywhere we have laws and regulations that guides what we do. So understanding and identifying and understanding the legal and regulatory frameworks guiding such an activity. You know, for instance, in Nigeria and in some other places in the world, but I will give an example of Nigeria. We have the Environmental Impact Assessment CAP E12 LFN 2004 that requires that every major development must undergo the process of an environmental and impact assessment.
Sure.
You know, so such is an act that when developing a project, we must think of how the project will comply with such an act. Globally as well, there are several other, each country have theirs, but also there are international standards that requires that projects must be subjected to the process of environmental and social impact assessment. And as part of this process is developing an environmental and social management plan. So step 2 is more like looking at the legal and regulatory framework. So after that, then is the fact that we need to be able to identify the stakeholders.
Okay.
Because I want to implement a project and I'm at the planning stage, that doesn't mean that I can do it alone. There are stakeholders. Okay, who are the people around the area where this project is to be implemented? Who are the regulatory authorities? They are also stakeholders. Who are the people that will be impacted directly or indirectly by this project? So they are also there are international standards that requires that projects must be subjected to the process of environmental and social impact assessment. And as part of this process is developing